Well, Michael Baum is Senior Managing Partner of Baum Hedlund, Aristide and Goldman. His law firm represented Dewayne Johnson in court. Mr. Baum, thank you for joining us. A momentous outcome on many levels, but what is Mr. Johnson's reaction?
He's relieved and happy that a verdict like this will help others find out about the risks that Roundup has for causing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, that school districts that are allowing their landscapers to spray the Roundup on the grounds where kids are playing will think again. And that hopefully a company like Monsanto will decide to put a warning on their materials so that when people buy or use Roundup, they'll know that they need to protect themselves from the carcinogenistic properties.
And you said that Mr. Johnson is keen that this will help others. Can we expect more cases of this kind coming to court in this way?
There's about 4,000 cases filed in the U.S. right now, with probably another 5,000 more that are not filed, that will be filed. We can expect a trial either in St. Louis or in California about every couple of months going forward.
That's incredible. Those numbers are very strong. So what is the wider significance of this then? What changes might we potentially see?
I think that there will be more effective lawsuits going forward. This was the trailblazer where we tried using as much of the evidence that was available, but there are additional documents we were not able to use that we will use in the future. We've also been able to determine what are the flaws in the science that Monsanto has been asserting. And by having exposed those flaws, we'll be able to use those insights in the future trials.
Monsanto are planning on appealing, and I just want to read you what their Vice President, Scott Partridge, has had to say. He says, "We are sympathetic to Mr. Johnson and his family. The decision does not change the fact that more than 800 scientific studies and reviews around the world support the fact that glyphosate does not cause cancer and did not cause Mr. Johnson's cancer." What is your reaction to the fact that the EU and the US still say that glyphosate is safe to use?
Well, you have one issue is regulatory capture. Entities like EPA and EFSA are essentially being influenced by the industry that they're intended to regulate. So there are insiders inside those regulating agencies that are sympathetic and do the bidding of Monsanto. And we found the internal emails that showed that, and expose those to the independent jurors who were able to make decisions about how the science was being manipulated, the guidelines that were not being followed. For instance, it's all about how you count the tumors. And if you don't count the tumors for exposures that are greater than 500 milligrams per kilogram in the mice, you lose about half of the tumor. And so EFSA and ECHA and the EPA, contrary to their guidelines, didn't count those events. And it's the elevated doses where you see the cancers. And that's what was shown in the epidemiology studies as well. The dose makes the poison. And people who used it for greater than 2 days or greater than 10 days had a doubling of the risk of incurring non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And by not counting the higher dose events, you lose the signal. And that's exactly what they intended to do, and they did it contrary to their guidelines.
Now, this has been a huge blow to the pesticide industry. What changes do you think we might see on ground level? For example, might retailers review the selling of such products?
They should. They should not be selling it without a warning that indicates that the material they're using, the formulation of glyphosate and a surfactant that combines to make the active ingredient penetrate much more effectively and much more than people know. And they need to know that the testing that's been done on these products are on the surfactant, the soapy stuff that's mixed with, and the active ingredient, and not the two together. And it's the two together that synergistically lead to the carcinogenic effects. And that testing must get done. They know it. Internally, their emails say they know it. They know they need to do it. They need to warn people that the synergistic effect of the formulations lead to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Michael Baum, a senior managing partner of Baum Hedlund, Aristide and Goldman, thank you for your time.